Most of y'all are able to say you don't like your friends. You don't trust them. They tell all of your deep, dark secrets. So why are they still there? If your life and the people that you have in your life creates nightmares for your life, what makes you think that because you're going to sleep that your mind is going to stop? The nightmares that you're having while you're awake, you're witnessing nightmares. Drama, dysfunction, negative people, you consuming your life. It's like, oh, there's negative dysfunction and drama. You're going to walk into the direction of dysfunction and drama.
The number one thing that's going to change your life, the only thing that will change your life, change your business, change your money, is you must raise your standards. All of us in life have things we want. We don't get what we want. We get what we have to have. We all get what we tolerate. But when you're no longer willing to tolerate something, that's when your life changes.
How much do you love yourself? You don't trust them. So why are they still there? So if you get rid of these things, people, and situations now, you get rid of the nightmares now, they're not going to have anything new to spread about you. You're in the new season of your life. I want you to win. I want you to get to the next level.
People over and over again, they get so focused on what's next or another season or another space because there is this notion and this idea that somehow the grass is green over the fence on the other side. The grass is not greener on the other side. The grass is simply green where you choose to water the grass.
Here's my advice to you today. Walk away from the 97%. Don't talk like they talk. Don't act like they act. Don't go where they go. Don't specialize in what they specialize in. Throw away the blame lists they cling to. Start you a new life. Don't let somebody sweep you into some contrary way to nature itself says, unless you labor. The miracle of the seed and the soil and the seasons and God and all the other stuff that's available, sunshine and rain, that's not available to you by affirmation. It is only available to you by labor. So labor well. Discipline yourself well. And you can have all the treasures you want.
The only thing more important than who you are today is who you're becoming tomorrow. How many of you know that where you're headed is more important than where you are? We choose a life of progression, not perfection. It's a phase. Life is a process. And the very fact that we're declaring that we are becoming also insinuates the fact that we are not there yet. If we're not careful, we will turn this concept of becoming into a destination.
A lot of people are running around here trying to figure out what it is to be happy, what it is to be fulfilled, what it is to connect your life and the fulfillment of your life to something. Maybe if I get this, I'll be happy. Maybe if I get that, I'll be happy. Maybe if all of this were to happen by this timeline, by November, I'll be happy. Then you get to November, everything that you wanted and desired happens by November. And you find yourself still feeling like you're chasing something. And it's like this never-ending, it's almost like you're chasing your tail and you never reach it.
I can't do this. It's just too much for me. It's too hard. I can't do this. I can't take it. And today I just want to tell you that you are stronger than you think you are. And I'm going to say that a good number of times, so I want you to let that get down on the inside of you.
Take action. Not hasty if it isn't required, but don't lose much time. Here's the time to act. When the idea is hot and the emotion is strong. That's the time to act. You say, Mr. Rohn, I'd like to have a library like yours. See, if you feel strong about that, what you got to do is get the first book and then get the second book. Before the feeling passes and before the idea gets dim, action pronto, action immediate, action as soon as possible. Because if you don't, here's what happens. We call it the law of diminishing intent. We intend to when the idea strikes us. We intend to when the emotion is high. But now if you don't translate that into action fairly soon, now the intent starts to diminish. And a month from now it's cold. A year from now, can't be found. So act. Set up a discipline when the emotions are high and the idea is strong and clear and powerful. That's the time to set up the discipline. Somebody talks about good health and you're stirred. Right. You need to get a book on nutrition. Get the book before the idea passes and before the emotion gets cold. Go for the book. Start the library. Start the process. Fall on the floor. Do some push-ups. Action. Got to take action. Otherwise, the wisdom is wasted. Otherwise, the emotion soon passes. Unless you put it into a disciplined activity. Capture it. Disciplines is called how to capture the emotion and how to capture the wisdom and translate it into equity. Now, here's what's important about discipline. All disciplines affect each other. In fact, here's a good philosophical phrase. Everything affects everything else. Nothing stands alone. Don't be naive in saying, well, this doesn't matter. I'm telling you, everything matters. There are some things that matter more than others, but there isn't anything that doesn't matter. We all pity the man who says, well, this is the only place I let down. Not true. Key to take home. Every letdown affects the rest of your performance. Every letdown affects the rest. This is part of the educational process on personal development. If you don't take the walk around the block, you probably won't do the apple a day. If you don't do the apple a day, you probably won't start building your library. If you don't build your library, you probably won't keep a journal, and you won't take pictures, and you won't do this, you won't do wise things with your money, won't do wise things with your time, won't do wise things with your possibilities and relationships, and the first thing you know, 6 years of that accumulated, and we say you have messed up. So the whole key to reversing that process now is to start picking up these things. Now here's the positive side. Every new discipline affects the rest of your disciplines. Every new one affects the rest.
The difference in people is their standards, period. Everyone in the world has a list of things they think they should do. I should lose weight. I should work out. I should work harder. I should make more calls. I should. And then you know what? People don't do their shoulds and they get mad at themselves. What changes people is when your should becomes a must. When suddenly the thing you said should happen has to happen. That's when human beings change. It's like if you want to take the island, burn the boats. Because if there's no way to go back, it's amazing what happens when it's a must to do something versus a should. That's what makes human beings succeed.
Pick up your damn suffering and bear it. And try to be a good person so you don't make it worse. That's what life is like. It's suffering.
Have you ever just had one of those days when your parachute doesn't open? The race has started, but your gate won't unlock. You just can't keep up. You can't keep your head above water. It's just one of those days.
That's why action is so important. The least action, the smallest action. Take it. When you start accomplishing and the value starts to return from that one action, it'll inspire you to do the next one and the next one and the next one. You start walking around the block, it'll inspire you to get an apple. Get an apple, it'll inspire you to get a book. Get a book, it'll inspire you to get a journal. Get a journal, it'll inspire you to grow, develop some skills. All disciplines affect each other. Every lack affects the rest. Every new affects the rest. The key is to diminish the lack. Set up the new, and you started a whole new life process. Also, one more thought on discipline. Here's the greatest value of discipline. Self-worth. Self-esteem. People are teaching self-esteem these days, but they don't connect it to discipline. The least lack of discipline, and it starts to erode our psyche. One of the greatest temptations is to just ease up a little bit. Right? The slightest lack of doing your best starts to erode. Right? Instead of doing your best, doing just a little less than your best. Sure enough. You say, well, it's just going to affect my sales. No, it's going to affect your consciousness. It's going to affect your philosophy. Now you've begun in the slightest way to affect your own philosophy. Here's the problem with the least neglect. Neglect starts as an infection. And if you don't take care of it, it becomes a disease. And one neglect leads to another. And the worst of all, when neglect starts, it diminishes our self-worth, our self-confidence, our self-value. You say, well, how can I get back my self-respect? I'm telling you, you don't have to go to 29 classes. All you have to do is start the smallest discipline that now corresponds to your own philosophy, like I should, and I could, and I will. No longer will I let neglect stack up on me so that I will have the sorry scenario 6 years from now, giving some excuse instead of celebrating my progress. That's the key to discipline. Okay? Let's get kids involved in the least of discipline. One more, and then one more, and then another one, and then another one, and then some more. And the first thing you know, you're starting to weave the tapestry of a disciplined life into which you can pour more wisdom and more attitude and more strong feeling, more faith and more courage. Now you've got something, a vessel in which to put it. And now the equities start to flow. And the early return, I'm telling you, if you'll start this process, the early return will have you so excited. You'll commit yourself to this strategy for the rest of your life. You'll never go back to the old way. Join a new crowd. Join a new group. The disciplines to do it. Take action. I recommended the last time I was here the little book, Richest Man in Babylon, and I said I've lectured now to over 3 million people in the last 33 years, and I've recommended this little book to almost all of them, I think. Guess how many have actually gone and got this little book? Answer, very few. My best guess is 10%. Such an easy thing to do. In that last seminar, right, I suggested this little book, number one, is easy to find. Number two, it's easy to buy. The most you can pay for it, $6, $7, $8. You can borrow that from your kids. And number three, it's easy to read. It's in story form. That's why I use it for teenagers, teaching them how to be rich by 40, 35, if you're extra bright, much sooner, if you find a unique opportunity. But if it's easy to find and easy to buy, and if it's easy to read, why wouldn't everybody go get it? We don't know. What do you know? You don't know. I don't know. Nobody knows. Here's how profound it is. Some do and some don't. Now here's the numbers. About 10% do. 90% don't or won't. We don't know the mystery of that. And I'm telling you, 10 years from now, those numbers will still be the same. 10% will, 90% won't. The numbers don't change. Only the faces change. You're looking at one of the faces. I used to belong to the 90% who couldn't be bothered even if it was easy. Guess how many people have a library card? Wisdom of the world available. Transform your life in any value amount you want. By the way, how much is a library card in Texas? Free. Here's what free is. Easy. I mean, it can't be any easier than free. Somebody says, well, would you bring it by? Well, no. At least you got to go get it. No.
I want you to focus on you. Sometimes you can get caught up in the distractions of life that you forget the main thing, and that is taking care of you. As I said, that life is based upon transformation, disruptions, and miracles. But in the midst of all of this, I want you to write this down. You got to keep it moving. And my heart goes out to family members and friends who've lost loved ones. And you got to keep it moving. You can't stay where you are. You can, but you don't want to stay there. Got to be a new you. And so in order for that to happen, for you to radically change your life, I want you to write down, what are you going to release? Number one is procrastination. Starting today, put off the things that you are okay with dying in you today. I'm not okay with my book dying in me today, because you're here today, gone today. We don't know how much time we have left. We don't know the day, the time, or the hour. You came here to do something. There's something in you that's unique to you. That's a representation of your intelligence, of your talent. And if you died today with those in you, would you be okay with that? No. I want you to write down the things that you would not be okay if those things died in you. Once you write them down, put down an action step. What are you going to start today? I dare you to decide to be on top of your life, to live intentionally, to put off that gift that's in you that God put in you. Just start. A journey on 1,000 miles begins with a single step. I want you to write one thing that if you died today, you would get on the other side and slap yourself. One thing, just find one thing. Release procrastination around that one thing. I'm going to put together a strategy to make 100 times more money. Why? Because I can. I can help my family more. I can help feed some of these people and provide housing for people who are going to be evicted. Some of that's got my name on them. Some of those families I'm supposed to help. That I was sent here at this point in time by God to inspire them and to let them know that He's real. He's real. What are the things that you need to release? Here's something else. There's some people I got block on their numbers. Why? I only want to take calls that are positive, that are productive, that are profitable. Don't fit in that category? I'm taking it out of my phone. And there are some people you know, nothing's going to come out of the conversation. It's not productive and it's not profitable. This is a time with all the stuff's happening right now. You have to ask the what if question. What if you got sick? How long can you miss out on bringing money in before it affects your lifestyle? You've got to start asking yourself the what if question, because things happen and you don't see it coming. Butter, she was going to sign a contract. She had had a major breakthrough. This was major for her singing career. And she was in a car accident, drinking from a straw for 6 months. She never saw that coming. Will Jackson is right. Life happens. And so that's why we have to have a strategy. And it's better to have a strategy and it not be necessary than to need it and you are left there naked. I've been here long enough to know life, it's serious. And you got to fight for what you want. You got to fight for peace of mind. First, work on you, on your mindset. You got to go on a mental diet. I have a friend named Mike Sims. I said, what would you say was a turning point for you to be earning your first $1 million year? He said, man, I did not watch television for 1 year. Invest in yourself.
Here's the big challenge of life. You can have more than you've got because you can become more than you are. And of course, the other side of the coin reads, unless you change how you are, you'll always have what you got. Somebody once said, if you took all the money in the world, divided it up equally among everybody, it would soon all be back in the same pockets. Success is something you attract, not something you pursue. So instead of going after it, you work on yourself. Personal development. Of all the assignments Mr. Schoaf gave me at age 25, this was probably the most difficult. I think it's an unending challenge to see what you can become. The major key to your better future is you. The major key to your better future is you. Transfer this to a card or something where you can put it up, where you can see it every day. This is a good phrase just to glance at, to keep in mind as you're putting the day together. If you'll just let this talk to you during the day, I found it to be tremendously helpful. Many things used to puzzle me back in those early days. I used to wonder why two people could work for the same company, one make twice as much money. And maybe they were the same age, live in the same community, they've got the same traffic, and one makes $1,000 a month, the other one makes $2,000 a month. And I don't mean $1,000 a month, right? I could figure that out. Well, back then, with my faulty reason it out. I used to say, Harold ought to be able to do well. He's got a lot of time. If I had all of Harold's time, I could do well. A guy says to me one time, he says, you know, if I had some extra time, I could make some extra money. I said, then forget it. There isn't any extra time. You say to the guy, what are you doing? He says, I'm looking for extra time. See, they'll come and take you away, right? Now, if you can't get more time, which you can't, what could you get more of that would make a difference in economic results? And here's the key word, value. Value makes the difference in results. First lesson of economics. We primarily get paid for value. You don't get paid for the time. Is it possible to become twice as valuable and make twice as much money in the same time? The answer is yes, if. It's possible to do much better at the marketplace if you go to work primarily on yourself. Learning to work primarily on yourself. How do you develop an above-average income? And the answer is, become an above-average person. Some people want to be successful. They don't even work on their handshake. They let it slide. They don't understand. Develop an above-average excitement. Develop an above-average intensity to win. See, that'll change everything. If you want to be wealthy and happy the rest of your life, just learn this lesson well. Learn to work harder on yourself than you do on your job. For things to change for you, you've got to change. Otherwise, it isn't going to change.
Everybody wants to be successful, and everybody wants to be happy. But I'm going to tell you what you're going to have to do. You're going to change your mindset. If you want to be successful, you got to change your mind, and you're going to have some faith.
And what that means is you have to give up all blaming, all looking out at the world and saying, well, if the world were different, then I would be better off. So basically, we are responsible to change our behavior until we get the outcomes we want.